So I wanted to talk a little bit about, or I was asked to talk a little bit about an odd use case out of Wayback, and it's the CDX server. There's actually a separate app bundled within the Wayback called the CDX server, and it behaves a little bit differently than the regular Wayback. It is bundled as part of it. It's installed as part of the directory, but it does different things than the Wayback itself. So you can't see this, but it's a list of URLs, part of that site that on our Library of Congress Web Archive search, you can actually search for a list of URLs from that seed URL that we harvested. So we're going to end up there. So the CDX server, we're running 1.6 on our public access, and I have 4 Waybacks. I run 1.6 on 3 of them and OpenWayback on another one. When I installed this, I was running the 1.6. 2 years ago, when we started the project, or the ITS staff started, wanted to do this project, we noticed our Wayback started to slow down and not really respond, and they were using the XML query, and it kept crapping out because it's not a really good and robust thing to query against the Wayback to find out the resources, because it actually uses the Wayback. So at that time, we contacted IA. IA said, hey, I think we got something that'll help you, but it's not ready yet. It'll be ready in a couple of months. A couple of months came. It was bundled as part of the Wayback 1.6. We installed it. Worked great. So it works independently of the Wayback, but it's installed in the Tomcat dir. And I tested it out when OpenWayback came out. I installed Wayback 1.8, OpenWayback, and I had 1.6 Wayback. And the CDX server from both 1.8 and OpenWayback works independently, and there's no problems. So you deploy a WAR file, and just like Wayback, the Wayback Tomcat needs to be bounced. You can't see this very well, but this is the directory. You see my CDX server.war, and in there's a CDX server 2 right underneath the white text. That's my actual CDX server. And that's important, whatever you call it, is how you're actually going to query against the CDX server. It comes bundled just like the Wayback. So you have your servlet so that you can identify where your CDX file is. It can use a non-certed. Everybody knows the cert term, right? Because we've been talking about that. So it can use a non-certed index, CDX index. But if you want to do domain searches, it's got to be certed. And in order to cert it, I think the later Waybacks will actually index an index. We use these too many times, index. But we'll create a CDX file in cert file format. So hopefully, having gone through, though, indexing my several hundred terabytes of data in 1.4 to 1.6, I'm not looking forward to re-indexing it in cert file format so I have it all, but it'll be one of those things. And when we do it, we'll make sure we do it right so we won't have to do it for a couple of years again. But we use that script right there to go ahead and create the cert file. And just like Wayback index, CDX file, you have to export LC equals C, export LC equals whatever. It's the terminology in there to lowercase everything, and then you sort it. You need to sort that again. And you specify the CDX file in your CDX servlet. And this looks just like a regular Wayback resource XML file. Those of you who have resource files, you just specify where it is. And this list, you could theoretically have multiple. I know IA is using the zipnum cluster, and I know there was some conversation on the listserv recently about the zipnum cluster. Yeah, you need HDFS in order to use zipnum, I believe, and we don't have HDFS. I think you need that, something. And it does say down here in the CDX fields, public CDX, URL key, timestamp, original, MIME type, status code, digest, length, and do count. One of the things we found recently is the fact that there's been a change in the CDX indexer. We don't have the length field where we need it, so in order to do a query, you have your Wayback, whatever you call that CDX directory, your CDX server, search and CDX question mark and whatever your URL is. And that's an example on the top of how we query against it. And I'll show you how we actually use it. So we have a catalog site. So in our library world, we crawl to seed, and part of that seed, we actually catalog it in mods file format. And some of the changes we're doing to the mods is to also include what we ask the crawler to crawl for that seed. And we do it a little bit differently, I think, than a lot of the national libraries. We have a seed, and then we have multiple scopes because our lawyers have said we can crawl this, so we consider anything that belongs to that content owner part of that seed, and we can make it available on or off site depending on what the permission exclusions are. So it could be all the social networking, or domains are cheap nowadays, so some sites have tons of domains that they've bought for their different campaigns. So anything we crawl with that. So they query the CDX server, and it's nice because it doesn't bring down your Wayback. It doesn't care about your Wayback, your work files or anything. It's just going against that CDX file. So it's nice and it's quick. They use a curl process, and it's no problem. And they query our ITS, our information technology, for the project one, which I'll demo at the end. Looks for 2XX and 3XX. We told him why he needed to include the 3XX, but you need to include those. And he looks for HTML, text, and PDF, because that's all he cares about. And it's kind of, we don't have Solar yet, indexing full text, something eventually to head towards, but we don't have that. This is a kind of an intermediate step. And that length thing, he throws out the duplicate CAPTCHA pages. And he needs the length to do it and other things to throw out. So there are some variabilities in how. And I think it's really important, not just when you start to harvest, how you deduplicate and what it is you want, and then how you index it so you don't have to continually index it. So I think we need to be a little bit better documenting what each Wayback indexer, the CDX indexer, comes bundled with, and how you can manage your index files to better support your end processes. And I think that's what we're finding now as we're analyzing the different indexers. I'm going to go off to the live site so I can actually show you. I do have time, right? Okay, I want to get out of that. I should have just... Impatient, sorry. There we go. Okay. So at the Library of Congress, you can search for archived websites. And this is recent. We've only added parts of our collection. We have 8 collections available right now with the records and what our ITS staff has done. So, oh, there's my Marine Corps League example. So this is actually what's indexed is, of course, the mods record and all the fields thereof. And over here, over at the left side, is what Chris did to try to make it a little bit more robust of information about what it was we actually got for the site. So these 127 captures down there actually are talking about the options. How do I, it's not clicking on that. Okay. Mouse isn't working. Oh, shoot. That's right. Sorry. I need to find a government one that is available off-site. Okay. And let's go to, I think most of the legal blogs are available off-site. This is also very slow.
Yes.
Okay. Green building. I think all these are available off-site. So we have 274 captures here, and what he's done, Control++, you can see, of course he's gone and he scraped through the CDX server URLs that are in the file so that perhaps users can get to it a little bit better. And the other interesting thing he did was use it to highlight captured links. So if a user comes in here, it will actually, and it didn't in this case, but this thing, no, it's not. Okay, this is a bad one for highlight captured links. So it'll actually also highlight the captured links. It's not showing. Okay, so this is a bad one for that, and it's really nice. Of course, the challenge is the same thing as solar, is scale. How do you present in this interface a million URIs and just with your previous to next? So it's really, really hard. And we're having discussions with him now to try and figure out what makes sense in this kind of viewpoint. So it's interesting. So anyway, there's also supposed to be, you can also jump. So this probably would be the most useful part to it. But that is our answer to full text indexing right now. It's just an intermediate step. So see how it goes. So that's how we use the CDX server. So it works out. So any questions on that? It's really easy to deploy. I had no problems out of the box. So, okay, thanks.
I have maybe one question. What kind of information? Is it any information from the call log that you will serve?
No. No, just whatever's in the work file.
Okay, I mean the CDX server. You can query any field.
You can query for 2x, whatever, however you set it up.
Yeah,
but
okay.
There's actually, you can actually, here I'll show you. There's IA actually has documented this. X server. So there's several things that you can go ahead and query. I'm sorry. Remove that.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't remember if it's on the OpenWayback 2. I think I go over to the Wayback 1.8 to every time I want to do a different kind of query. But you can query anything out of the CDX file. It's great. It's wonderful. CDX server, of course. Probably, I can't find it right now. I should have put that information there, but yeah, you can find that, and they actually have it documented pretty well.
Right.
The only difference is the paging through. I think it's the latter version of the CDX server you may need to run. They did some changes to that for paging if you have a lot of responses.
Yeah. Okay.
So on that,
Thanks.
yeah. So it's pretty handy. Okay, thanks.